Hi everyone, this is Phil Travis here, and it is week 2 here at EOU, History 445, Post-War Europe. Hope everything went well for the first week. I thought everything was looking pretty good. I'll try to make this announcement relatively brief. This week we have a quiz. This week it's an 8-question multiple-choice true-false quiz, and it is based on your reading of the Tony Jute post-war book from Chapter 2. This week we're reading Chapter 2 and 3 from the post-war book. I think that's enough reading this week. Next week we'll probably be looking at some primary sources as well. But this week, just read Chapter 2 and 3 from post-war. We're particularly looking at issues of retribution, both against war criminals, German war criminals and war crimes tribunals, as well as actions taken against alleged collaborators. And we're also looking at the efforts to rehabilitate and recover Europe, both from the perspective of the United States with the U.S. Marshall Plan, as well as with the transformation of European systems into social democracies, which really in Western Europe really happens quite thoroughly following World War II. So that's the nature of our readings this week. I hope everybody's enjoying the book so far. I know it's a huge book, but I think it's really, really, really well written, and I really enjoy that book. So I hope everybody else also enjoys reading it, and I think the readings this week are pretty interesting. So let's make sure we do our reading, Chapter 2 and 3. The quiz is only on Chapter 2. It's 8 questions. There's a 25-minute time limit. Do the reading and make highlights in the reading, and that way when you take the quiz, you can kind of go back and skim through your highlights if you need to double-check something or look something up. Our discussion, as usual this week, remember, just have your first activity. To be honest with you, it could be your post, it could be a reply. I'm not really freaking out if it's a post or a reply on Thursday. I just want to see that you're active no later than Thursday, beginning no later than Thursday during the week, and that you're active in the discussion forum on 2 separate days. So I'm looking for 1 post, 2 replies of a substantial nature, spread out over 2 separate days, and beginning no later than Thursday. That's what I'm looking for full points. This week I have a little video that I shot for you. In addition to my lecture, I have a little short video. It's short, don't worry. But it's a little video that I shot for my classes from the ruins of Hitler's Berghof. And this is also going to play into our now starting our extra credit activity in this class. So let me tell you a little bit about this extra credit. So in the class, every week we're going to do I'm going to have an extra credit activity associated with these announcements. Those of you who have taken my class, you are well aware of how this works. How this works, for those who haven't been in my class before, the way the extra credit works is you watch the weekly announcements, watch them no later than Wednesday, because in order to get the extra point, you have to email me a factoid no later than Wednesday. So you email me a factoid. I have a special folder for factoids. Send me an email. In the announcements, I'm going to state a factoid. I'll do it right now. I will tell you a factoid, something that maybe is not in the textbook. Just an interesting factoid about the subject that we're covering. And so I'll state a factoid, and then I want you to email me exactly what that factoid was. And then I'll take that factoid, I'll put your little factoid in the folder, and I'll tabulate you 1 point. If you do all of the factoids, so there'll be 9 of them, 9 more announcements in the class, you get 9 points added to one of your test scores at the end of the term. If you do all 9 of them, you get 10 points. I give you a bonus one. If you do all but 1, then each one's 1 point. So if you do 8 of them, 8 points, 7 of them, 7 points. If you do 9 of them, you get 10 points. But every one of them you do is worth at least 1 extra point towards a test score, one of your 2 test scores. We had a midterm and a final. So I'll give you 1 point for each one of these announcements towards one of your test scores at the beginning of the term. It can be a huge help. It can be the difference in an A or a B. It can be the difference in a C or a B. Heaven forbid anybody needs to get over the hump from a D to a C. I hope no one's in that boat when we get to the end of the class. So email me the factoid, get your extra point. You must email it to me no later than Wednesday by midnight, otherwise it doesn't count. The whole point is that you are watching the opening announcements at the beginning of the week and thinking about the class and getting engaged in the reading in the beginning of the week, not at the end of the week. Okay, so this week's factoid is this. Hitler's Berghof, and I'll show you the little video from it so you can see. I went to this location. It's today Hitler's Berghof is hidden in the woods. All that's left is a ruin, a concrete foundation with moss and trees growing all over it and everything. It was lost in the woods, so to speak, destroyed. And Hitler's Berghof was his residence. It's located in the Bavarian Alps, and Hitler spent like a third of his time when he was Führer of Germany at the Berghof making policy. And it's on the border of Austria and Germany at a place called Berchtesgaden in the Bavarian Alps. Well, Hitler's Berghof today, like I said, is destroyed. All that's left is a concrete foundation. It's not a museum or anything. It's not a memorial. It's returning to the forest. And the reason is because in 1952, at the behest of the Bavarian government, Hitler's Berghof was destroyed. What was left of it was destroyed. It was blown up. It was razed to the ground. And the reason was because, speaking to our reading this week, this was the push towards sort of collective memory to forget this dark, troubled past, and to eliminate that type of relic from the sight of German and Austrian people. And so today, the old driveway is little more than a trail that goes up into the woods. A little more than a trail that used to be the driveway to Hitler's Berghof. Right next to it is the old hotel that was there when Hitler's Berghof was there, and it's still there operating. You can go there and stay the night if you want to. So the factoid is this week, Hitler's Berghof destroyed, and the foundation living in the woods, largely because of a desire on the part of local government to forget the dark and black memory of Nazi Germany. Email me that factoid no later than by Wednesday at midnight, and let's have a great week, guys.